This is another Disney podcast production.
Oh my gosh, I always laugh at that intro. Why am I so jacked up? What were we talking about?
I thought you were going to say, why am I so jacked?
It's because you lift weights.
I'm like, Dave's talking like this. Matthew's just nodding, and I'm like,
I'm also very formal in my collared T-shirt.
I literally think mine was where I was saying, don't like to wear masks, don't go to the parks. I swear, I think that's what it was. My hidden message.
For sure.
oh goodness.
I went first. Dave
You
went
first.
Yep.
Dave did go.
He cried a single tear.
Minimal tears.
One tear.
I guess that leaves me.
It has to be Palm.
It's Brandon's turn.
That leaves me.
Brandon.
What
The
up?
people want to know, why do you love Disney?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know the answer to this. So, yeah, I'm curious.
It's in the notes.
It's neat.
Yes, it is neat.
Thanks for coming, guys.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good night. Buy some merchandise.
Piece of chicken grease.
So I didn't really grow up with Disney. It wasn't really a part of my childhood. Of course I watched the movies, and I had the films, but that was kind of my experience with Disney, was just the movies. I didn't have stuffed animals of characters. I didn't have posters, anything like that. But when 7th grade came around, I went to Disney for the first time. I still remember how my parents told us we were going to go to Disney. So we were sitting in the living room and we were talking about going back to school, because this was the week before school started. And we were talking about what homeroom I was going to be in or something like that. And my dad walks into the living room and he just hands the three of us, me, my brother, and my sister, just a plane ticket. It says nothing, no words, nothing. Just hands us a plane ticket. And we all sit there dumbfounded, staring at this thing. We have no idea what it is. And, I'm reading and it says BWI to Orlando.
Here we go.
And then it was just like the commercial, right? The children erupt and start dancing around the room. And the nerd that I am, my next question was, what about school next week?
Of course you would.
My parents were like, dude, we're gonna take you out of school and we're gonna go to Disney World. So that's kind of how we found out that we were going. So we went, and it was, I don't know what I expected when I went there. I think I just expected what I had heard from people about Disney World. You're going to meet Mickey Mouse. There's fun things to do. There's a castle. I wasn't, because I hadn't grown up with it really, I wasn't really invested emotionally in Disney. But we had a great time. I remember very little of it. It was in 1990. So I remember the very first thing we did, we got there, we went to Epcot. And we rode Spaceship Earth. That was the very first thing that I rode at Disney. And then when we got off, they used to have all of this crazy cool stuff. You could get in a spacesuit and work things, do tasks, you were in a space station. That's the only thing I remember about getting off of the ride. But that was the very first thing we rode. And I still love Spaceship Earth, and I wish they still had that cool stuff. Now it's all that techie stuff that, is virtual reality stuff. There's no hands-on stuff there. But yeah, it was great. It was an awesome time. We had a great family vacation. We stayed at the Polynesian. So that's the one and only time I've ever stayed at a good resort. We always stay now at we sleep there, so we stay at the value resorts. But we stayed at the Polynesian. And the last day we were there, we missed our flight home because we were playing in the pool, and we wouldn't get out of the pool because it had a water slide.
I did not know this.
Casino We had never seen a water slide. We're in the pool. My dad is yelling at us to get out of the pool. My mom is yelling at him for yelling at us. And yeah, we got in the rental car, raced to Orlando Airport. My dad pulls up to like the Enterprise place, and he's like, "We got to get on our flight in 25 minutes. Can we make it?" The Enterprise guy was like, "No way, dude.
Not a chance.
No way." So we ended up taking a flight that was 2 hours later. But yeah, we missed that. So that was kind of my Disney experience in my child years. Like I went when I was 12. So that was through early childhood and teens. That was my only experience with Disney until we met you and that fateful trip in 2010.
Yes.
And
Great
we've
job.
talked about it. You know, Dave and Kimberly invited us to go with them in the most epic way possible. You know, we won't rehash the whole story, but they left a care package on our porch. It was full of Disney goodies. It was full of fun other things, and then a link to a YouTube video that we put on our show notes for you guys to check out. That was my introduction to Disney as an adult. So the cool thing was, like, I didn't really remember Disney from when I was 12. So I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I didn't know, you know, I had no idea about planning a Disney trip. We're just going to go with Dave and Kim because they seem to have it all together, and we're going to do whatever they tell us to do.
First mistake.
So that was the first mistake. But that was, I still tell Krista, my wife, that was one of the best trips I've ever been on. We just had fun. It was just a week of fun. Like, we would go to the park from open to close, and then we'd go back to the hotel and we'd sit around the pool and we'd just talk about the day. So it was just one of the best trips. It's where we got to really know Dave and Kim. And, you know, that started the love affair, obviously, with Disney. So after that trip, I mean, Krista and I started going to Disney 2, maybe 3 times a year. We tried to convince Dave and Kim to come with us every time we went.
Oh, so hard.
I don't know.
Go.
They must have put something in the water, but yeah, they got us with an elixir, a love elixir, a best friend love elixir. But yeah, every time we went, we tried to get them to come, and they came. You know, then they had kids, and then they couldn't come until that trip in 2014. But that's kind of when I really started falling in love with Disney is as an adult. And the thing that made me fall in love with Disney was the people that I was there with. So that's one of the benefits of living here, obviously, is that we get to see a lot of people at Disney. And a lot of my memories are being with people in specific moments at Disney, watching Happily Ever After with people who've never seen it. I love to experience Happily Ever After with people who've never seen it before. And I just watch them. I don't even watch the fireworks show.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what made me fall deeper in love with Disney, is being able to experience with a multitude of different people. So, I mean, we talked about it before. We loved it so much that we moved here.
Right.
I mean, it was definitely in our plan to move here. It happened a heck of a lot sooner than we thought it would. But when the opportunity presented itself, I had to do it. So, my wife got the job offer here, and it was just a chance we couldn't pass up. So the thing I love about Disney, and the number, if someone asked me, tell me why you love Disney, what's the number one thing? I think the answer would be Disney is just a place that allows you to escape. It allows you to escape work that happened during the day. It allows you to escape real life for a while. And it lets you not only be a kid, it lets you feel like a kid. That's the thing that I love about it, is that you can act like a kid. Acting like a kid and feeling like a kid are two very different things. And I think that Disney allows you to act like a kid, but also allows you to feel like a kid.
Yeah.
I still get choked up. They call it getting magic, right? Like a cast member gives you a free Mickey bar. Like, that makes you feel like a kid. Like when you were a kid and somebody gave you something free, That was the best thing on earth. You won the lottery. So, I mean, that's what makes me love Disney, is that no matter what's going on in your life, if you can get there for any amount of time, whether it's an hour, whether it's a week, like, it allows you just to fall into that world, and it allows you to escape and be a part of, it sounds so cliche, but be a part of the magic. So yeah, and the attractions and experiences that they currently offer and the new stuff that they're coming up with, it just makes me want to visit all the time. So, I mean, that's the long and short of why I love Disney, but, you know, it gives me all the feels, for sure.
Okay. Before I ask you a follow-up question.
Yes.
I have a different thing that I want to share. You talked about, like, when cast members do those extra things. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I got to get it off my chest. Every time I go with my kids, they'll always be like the cast member that has like that roll of stickers, and like they'll give them to my kids. I want the stickers. Like, that's the, like, if they only knew, we have a ton of like video equipment and gear, and I have these Pelican cases that I smother literally with stickers, and I'm all like, why don't you get the stickers to my kids, man? They're not even going to use. They're going to put them on their hand, and an hour later it's going to be on the ground, and y'all are going to have to be scraping it off with an ice scraper. Get me the, like, I want the stickers.
I'm with you. And I see, like, kids these days, they're not excited by stickers. Like, I see cast members hand a kid a sticker, and they're like, they just give it to their parents.
Give me the stickers.
They just hand it to them, and they don't care. But I love stickers. I'm with you.
I've never liked stickers.
Oh, he's done. We're done. It's the Matthew and Brandon show, dude. I'm telling you, like, we give out stickers to our Patreon members because we like stickers. I want the stickers, except for Matthew.
Except for Matthew, he doesn't get stickers.
All right. So here's my question.
Sure. You
guys obviously fell in love with Disney later, but it still led you to chase, I mean, you guys are still with the same company, but you started looking for open positions that would get you, as they say, to the magic. And so my question is, how are the parks different for you now that you can go after work? Now that you can go whenever you want to, like Monday night after work, like, let's go to the Magic Kingdom's open till 10. Let's head over to the TTC and take the monorail in. How, just having that flexibility to literally just run to a park anytime you want to, air quotes when you're not working. How does it feel for you now? Like, has it changed?
It has changed. And, back when we first started to go, like we talked about, we would wake up, be at the park from the time the park opened to the time the park closed. And this is back when the park was open till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Right. So we're talking 13, 14-hour days of just Disney. Now, we don't have to do that. We don't feel like we have to go to the park for 7 hours to enjoy the park. It's perfectly acceptable and perfectly fine to go to the park after work for 2 hours. Like, we went to Epcot the other night, and we were there for probably an hour and 45 minutes. And we ate food, and we had some drinks. We walked around, and that was a successful night. So I think moving here just allows us to be a little more leisurely in our experience in the park. We don't have to run around and do everything as fast as possible.
That's great. Well, I'm jealous. That seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice.
It's definitely a lot of fun. It's more fun. Everybody has this thought in their head, like, if I move to Disney, this is how it's going to be.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go to Disney every day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ride everything. But now, I mean, I can't even tell you the last time that Krista and I went to Disney and we rode something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So that's definitely how it's changed.
Unless you count the monorail or the ferry boat.
Right.
Those are the things that we've ridden. We just go to walk around and just experience. Like, we look at things now, and we check out what they're doing to the castle, or we'd look at a renovation or, a refurbishment just to see like what's going on. And then if a line is not a 40-minute wait, then we might jump in it to get on it. But yeah, I can't even remember the last time we rode anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I do have one question for you.
Sure.
What was the biggest challenge you guys had to overtake in your move to Orlando?
Ooh.
The biggest challenge is, as cliche as it sounds, is being as far away from people as we are, like family wise.
Yeah.
It was a huge decision, and I don't think we really thought about everything that went into moving 800 miles away from everyone you've ever known. So when we first moved here, all we had was the parks. Like we engrossed ourselves in the parks to make us feel better about leaving. Like my niece was devastated that we moved 800 miles away and that she couldn't see us. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that we just didn't realize how far Florida was away from everything that we had. I mean, we moved a lot. Like we lived in Virginia Beach. We lived in Charlottesville, Virginia. So, I mean, we lived a couple hours away from family and friends, but 14 hours that's a pretty significant distance. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't change the decision at all. We've met some great friends here. And like I said, we see people more now than when we lived in all those other places.
Yeah, you've said
comes
that
to Disney World.
You've said that every time that you bring this up. You're like everybody comes to Disney, so we get to see people sometimes yearly, but people you haven't seen in years. I mean, it's great.
Exactly. We actually had to buy a calendar to put people on. Like, hey, Dave will be here this weekend. Matthew will be here this weekend. My friend from college will be here this weekend. So we had to have and we put stuff on Facebook joking all the time. And we're like, get your name in the guest book for the bombs.
I remember that.
Just because, I mean, there's usually 2 months during normal time, February and then October. For some reason, everyone decides that February and October is when they want to come to Disney. So we would meet people in the parks, and that's the beauty of having the annual, the platinum pass, where we can go. There's no blackouts. We would just go meet somebody at a park at least 3 nights a week. So, it's great. Like I said, I would not change it for anything. I'm glad we decided to pull the trigger and move down here.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Brandon can tell you this. There's been more than one trip that I said, hey, here's when we're thinking about coming. And you'll come back and say, well, we're not going to be in town that week, or we have something going on. And so I always make sure that selfishly, and it's worked out almost every time, that when I'm going to plan it around when none of your other friends are going to be there, so we get all the attention. Exactly. But I mean, not everybody has that flexibility. So I get it.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. I mean, last year, like, you called me up and you were like, hey, we're going to come down this weekend. And I was like, I got to volunteer that weekend. And you're like, I'm going to switch it. We're coming 2 weeks earlier.
I know.
So, I mean,
that's the benefits. And I will tell you this, I mean, going in a whole different direction, but even though we have kids, they're still young enough, and our oldest is performing very well in school. And so as long as that keeps up, we never, ever go during the summer. That's not true. When we would go like the last week of August or 2 weeks before August ends, because school for us here starts so late. So we've been but we almost always go May. It seems like it always landed around like May the 4th for like Star Wars weekends way back in the day. But I always seem to end up at the parks May the 4th. And then, sometime like September or late August, so we can get the Mickey's Not So Scary. But I'm very thankful that Kim is cool about it, and our daughter is performing well enough in school at this age where we don't have to go in the summer like everybody else, or we don't have to go during spring break. So we're very choosy about when we go, because I want to go when there's a time when you guys aren't going to be packed with visitors or plans, and B, when the parks aren't going to be packed. So
Right.
Exactly.
yeah, so I'm glad we get to be choosy when we go to the parks. So I'm blessed for that.
Yep.
I'm excited.
And I'm super also glad. I mean, we've hung out with you a bunch, Dave, but I've gotten to know Matthew and his family really well too. So I mean, and that was a Disney meeting.
Yeah.
You know, and we've gotten to the point. The first couple times it was I hung out with Matthew and you, and now, sorry, Dave, we hang out without you. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten to know Matthew and his family, and they've been awesome to us, and we enjoy hanging out in the parks with them. So
yeah,
you know, it just like I said, why I love it so much is just the feeling that it creates inside of you, and then how you can experience with other people.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm excited to come down and get a little bit of time with the Palms. When we go down with our family, we typically include the Palms on our reservation, so we can get them in on the pool. And then,
it's a super nice perk.
I mean, last time we came down, I mean, there were probably we were down there for 10 days. There were probably 2 or 3 nights where the Palms would come and they would just stay at the pool for like 4 hours each night. And we loved it. We just sat there and talked. It was awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
DVC membership without the payments.
I'm right there with you.
I can get on that plan for sure.
For sure.
Well, this was awesome, man. Thank you for sharing, and you wrapped up this little series on get to know the cast of ADP. Really is what it was.
Yeah.
From
not
our
just
Disney
why we love
perspective.
Disney.
I mean, so this was great. Lots of cool content coming. Thank you again, Patreons. We'll see you real soon.